Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. Did you feel that? Did you feel those recent shifts? How are things going for you? This is definitely the mid part of July, the big moment of shifts in the month and truly in the year. We're going to be chatting about the recent changes that are up and coming, and also just kind of go back a day. We're going to go back just one day here because July 10th is a significant moment in the astrology of July. This started in the early morning on July 10th. Mars moving into Virgo at 4:40 a.m. And Mars takes about 2 months to move through a sign. So these are 2-month cycles. And when a planet moves in and a planet is transitioning a certain sign, the planets are always in one of the 12 signs of the zodiac at all times. So it's the influence that's being put upon that planet by that sign and all of the themes and things that make that sign unique, being put, on that planet and sort of putting that planet under those certain conditions. And so Mars is our warrior spirit. Mars is the planet of going and getting things that you want. Mars is the fighter. Mars is the impatient one who just wants things to happen right now. And Mars has just moved into Virgo, which is a feminine sign. Mars is a very masculine energy. And so this is a nice balancing point for the spirited, fiery planet of Mars to be in an feminine earth sign that is truly all about service. Virgo energy is one that I'm trying to connect with a little bit more, just because some of the signs are a little elusive, to certain people. I feel like they just take a little extra time to get to know the energy of the signs. And so Virgo is one that I'm definitely interested in learning a little bit more about right now and kind of just connecting with. So I'm really watching this Mars in Virgo, the way that we are going to be using our Mars, our warrior spirit, is going to be colored within these grounded themes of Virgo, of servitude, cleanliness, orderliness, and all the other Virgo themes that you come across out there. Monday, July 10th also brought with us the shift of Mercury into the sign of Leo, and Leo houses Venus right now, and Venus is going to be in Leo for a long time. She does her retrograde here for the next 6 months. So Mercury is moving pretty quick right now and is going to be in the sign with Venus, where she's slowing down and starting to do some of her retrograde work. And so Mercury joining in this fiery Leo party. I was just talking with a friend about Leo energy, and it's definitely that energy that wants to be noticed, right? It wants to be out there and for people to say, I saw that, and that's beautiful, and that's looking good. And, they want to be seen. They want to be heard and to be out front. Leo energy is confidence. It's the lion, the lion and the lion pride. So think of the lion sitting there, being stoic with the wind blowing in the mane, and that beauty and that comes from that power that comes from that stoic beauty of that lion. That's Leo energy for sure. Leo is a heart-centered energy too. Like, as much as Leo is kind of this attention-seeking energy, it's also the home and the hearth and the heart. And so Leo is a place that we come back to our heart, and we come back to the home, and we come back to that burning flame, that home hearth, to find our own, what we're looking for, the answers, the solutions, the guidance, right? That's what we're going inside for, among so many other things. And so this is big time shifts. We've got some personal planets that Mars is our personal planet that rules our physical body and our go-getter spirit. And Mercury is our mind, the planet that rules our mental activity and our mind. And so our mind is going to be around Leo themes while moving through the sign of Leo. I'm going to be making conjunction with Venus too fairly soon. So that'll be next week, and we'll definitely get back to that conjunction when it happens. But this week is certainly lined up to be a fated, interesting one, because what we have going on this week is actually a giant T-square between Pluto, Mercury, and then the nodes, the north and the south node. So Mercury came through early in the week and made this grand cross, really. And then Mercury moves fast, so it kind of went out there, and we're left with this T-square with Pluto and the nodes. And this is not the first time that I've talked about this, right? Because Pluto is now in retrograde, and then the nodes have their retrograde movement. They actually move backwards. The rest of the planets move one way. They move counterclockwise, and then the nodes move clockwise around the astrological wheel. So this T-square with Pluto is kind of the second one that we've come across this year. And if you remember, Pluto being the planet, Pluto being the planet of death and rebirth and burning things down to allow space to build things back up again. Pluto is the great completion planet. Pluto is also the slowest moving planet. It takes 250 years to get around the zodiac. So we never get to see Pluto return to these places again when we have Pluto, especially lined up like this with the nodes of fate. Destiny is on our plate this week, and this T-square is actually lasting for the next few months as Pluto is in this retrograde, moving backwards along with the nodes. So we're going to continue to see endings, completion, phases coming to an end, things happening in our life that are very destined and fated. And not only that, but they are going to be permanent. This is the kind of thing that Pluto represents. Permanent endings. And so this is, sounds kind of scary, but also it's beautiful because we can find our way here. We can truly find like what's fated and meant for us out there. It can be tough. It can be dark for sure. Pluto is really far out there in the deepest, darkest, coldest depths of our solar system. And so it can feel like that. It can feel cold and distant and hard to understand. Like you have to squint your eyes and really focus, to find what it is that you're seeking out there. But Pluto doesn't really work like that. It's like I said, it's quick and permanent, and there's no time left to understand anything. You can process it later. You can go through and process it in the end, but knowing that we have endings and completions upon us. I mean, you've heard of all of the bad endings, right? There's a lot of bad endings out there, and like relationships ending poorly, friendships ending poorly, businesses, crashing and falling and these kind of poor endings, right? But when we know about the astrology and what is on our plate for the week, we can say, okay, so if I see that there are some endings coming my way, some completion points, some fated, destined moments that are going to happen no matter if I want them to or not, right? And it's going to be permanent, that I'd maybe like to have a little bit of say, conscious activity, consciously working with that and creating and manifesting healthy endings, healthy completion points, healthy separations, and use the energy to consciously work with this and to consciously work with the cycles of our universe. This week brings with it even more of this completion feeling as we are in the last week of our lunar phase, and we are approaching a new moon coming up on Monday, July 17th, Monday here on the Pacific West Coast, where I give my report from. And so with a new moon also approaching during this nodal shift, the north and the south node shifting, the nodal shift, we are coming to a turning point. We're coming to a shifting point. And this week also brings with it more of these aspects. I brought up these quincunxes last week. Maybe I just really like saying quincunx, but quincunxes are all over the reports right now. And it just means to me that type of energy is out there. The quincunx is 150 degrees apart in the zodiac. So instead of being 180 degrees straight across, it's 30 degrees off. So it's not a straight shot. It's just off, and it's annoying. These are annoying, irritable aspects. The first quincunx that we have energetically available to us this week is on July 14th. That is going to be between Mercury and Saturn. This is 5 signs apart. So I mentioned the planet of Mercury is just going to be just moved into the sign of Leo. And so Mercury working with a new energy itself, trying to figure out the Leo energy and exactly what the story is going to be and exactly what this Mercury transit through Leo, is going to be about. So Mercury making adjustments and then making this quincunx with a retrograded Saturn in Pisces. And also, that retrograded Saturn in Pisces has a retrograded Neptune in Pisces. And these two are just kind of debilitating this Pisces energy a little bit. Maybe debilitating isn't quite the right word, but they've got a grip on it. And Neptune is the ruling planet of Pisces. So when Neptune is retrograde in the home sign here, I just feel like that creates extra challenging Neptune and Pisces themes. Challenging Neptune and Pisces themes include delusion, illusion, confusion, fuzziness, muddiness of the facts, not being able to see any definite edges to anything. Everything is just blurred out. And Neptune is retrograding for quite a while. We have many months still left of this muddiness within Pisces energy. And so Saturn retrograde also in Pisces with this fuzzed out energy. And so Mercury is like fast moving and trying to make sense of things in the first degrees of Leo and excited to be moving and shifting and finding new energy. This is our mental state, ready to move, ready to go, ready for new stuff, and comes into a really annoying aspect, a quincunx with a retrograded Saturn. Saturn is all about our responsibilities. Okay. It can be a heavier energy. Saturn is like no fun. Saturn is all responsibilities and no fun, all work, no play. But Saturn also represents places in our life where we need to have strong boundaries. And I feel like Saturn is always trying to work with us to tell us when it's time to stop, or when it's time to let go, or when it's time to move on, or when it's like time to do something heavier take responsibility for something and go with it, right? So this fast-moving Mercury in Leo is like all heart-centered and like, I'm going to follow my heart and here we go. I'm all excited about new energy, and kind of hits this weird energy on Friday with this quincunx with Saturn. And it's basically the only thing that happens all day except for a sextile with the Sun and Uranus. And this is going to bring about something surprising during that day. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if something surprising happens on Friday, and it includes something having to do with this kind of confusing mental energy about trying to figure out how to take responsibility for something or how to like responsibly do something that you're working on. The next quincunx comes the next day on July 15th. This is between Venus. We just spoke about her. She is at the last degrees of Leo, setting up to station retrograde. So she's basically stopped. Venus energy has slowed down. Venus represents our love, our trust, money, also represented by Venus. So these themes in our life starting to slow down, and we are going to be moving into a pretty rare, Venus only retrogrades every 2 years. So Venus retrogrades are considered rare, and they are considered to be something to pay attention to, as Venus is a personal planet that rules the things in our life, including how we love, how we value, how we trust, what we love, what we put our Venusian energies into. This quincunx is happening with this retrograded Neptune in Pisces at 28 degrees is where Neptune is retrograding and moving back into the 27-degree area. So this is also actually somewhere where I'd like to just stop and bring something else in. 27 degrees of any sign is an important degree because the galactic center of our universe is located out 27 degrees of the sign of Sagittarius. And so anytime that a planet or an aspect or a node or anything comes into play with the 27-degree point, this is going to be bringing in galactic themes. This is like where we get true messaging, right, in from these really strong energetic portals in the astrological wheel. So this is kind of considered a strong astrological little point, 27 degrees of Sagittarius, the galactic center of our universe, and 27 degrees of Pisces, where Neptune is retrograding, is squaring this point. And I just spoke about how Neptune retrograde is like kind of confusing, kind of delusional, and retrogrades can definitely be more effectively used if we can take our energy inwards during a retrograde. So exploring themes around galactic messaging, any, energies that you're trying to pull in, it's happening right now, but it's challenged. A square is considered a challenging point. And so if we feel right now like there is some confusion, some fuzziness around this destiny, around sort of where we're headed, as the galactic center is like the center of the universe. So that's kind of where all the answers come from, right? In the astrological wheel. And so just wanted to kind of pull that in. Whatever that means to you is perfect. I have my personal Neptune at 28 degrees of Sagittarius. That's why I call myself the galactic ambassador in the cosmic community, because I was actually given that name by another astrologer that I had a reading with. She says, "Oh, hello, you galactic ambassador, you." And that 28 degrees, that Neptune it's between 27 and 28 in Sagittarius, I feel the fuzziness right now personally. It's squaring off to my own personal Neptune, and it's retrograding in a square fashion. So just kind of gives you an idea of like how to pull in your own personal points in your own personal birth chart, with what's going on right now, and give yourself kind of your own little personalized astrology reading. And so this quincunx on the 15th between Venus, who is basically stopped and ready to retrograde. So her energy has waned quite a bit. And this Neptune, this is like kind of just annoying. It's something having to do with the way we imagine our love, money, trust, value system to be coming through. This is challenged in some way on the 15th. And then on the 17th of July, this is the day that the nodes officially shift out of Taurus and Scorpio into Aries and Libra. The North and the South node represent our destined direction and also where we're moving towards and where we're moving away from. The North node being what we're moving towards in our life, and the South node being what we're moving away from. So more shifting points, and that happens on the same day that we have this new moon in Cancer. And the new moon in Cancer is a time to make a fresh start in terms of how we nurture ourselves, how we treat ourselves. Cancer energy is about nurturing, and it's about the mother. And it's a watery, emotional, kind of quiet energy about the home and your intimate life. And so we are having this new moon making brand new intentions on the 17th, the same day that the North and the South node will shift into new signs for the next 18 months, just a week after Mars and Mercury have both made shifts, just a week before Venus stations retrograde and the Sun is going to move into Leo. So, yeah. Big stuff going on right now, and I will be back here in the Cosmic Community Astrology next week on Tuesday, and I just hope that you can find some space to really tune in with how the astrology is treating you and affecting you, and how you may be able to just consciously step in to alignment with what is happening this week. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.